Sometimes silence tells you everything. Not the kind of silence that fills a quiet room, but the kind that echoes in your chest. You sit across from her and she's there, smiling, talking, acting like everything's perfectly fine. But deep down, something feels off. It's not her words, it's her energy. Something invisible between you has changed. You can't quite explain it, but your intuition knows, because when a woman has been with someone else, her spirit, her rhythm, her emotional wavelength, they all shift. Not always in dramatic, obvious ways, but in subtle, almost invisible movements of her tone, her warmth, her gaze. It's as if a part of her has drifted somewhere else, and even if your mind doesn't want to believe it, your gut always knows. This isn't about paranoia. It's not about turning yourself into a detective or scrolling through her phone looking for clues. It's about emotional awareness, about understanding what energy reveals when words lie.
So, let's uncover the 8 subtle signs, the ones psychology and emotional energy both agree on, that quietly tell you when a woman has been with someone else. Let's begin. 1. Her eyes stop meeting yours. You ever look into someone's eyes and suddenly realize something's missing? No argument, no dramatic confession, just that soft, haunting feeling that the connection between you has quietly faded. That's the first thing that changes. When she's been intimate with another man, you'll notice her eyes don't stay on yours as long. She glances away a second too soon. She smiles, but it doesn't reach her gaze. Once upon a time, her stare made you feel seen. Now it makes you feel like she's hiding. And here's the thing. In psychology, eye contact isn't just physical, it's emotional truth. It's how souls communicate without sound.
When she avoids it, it's not random. It's often discomfort, guilt, confusion, or that quiet internal conflict between what she's done and how she still feels for you. Her eyes carry memories, even if her lips never confess them. That's why, when you look at her, something inside you tightens. It's not paranoia, it's resonance. Your intuition is reading the emotional truth that her words can't express. You can't fake eye energy. Don't ask her, "Why won't you look at me?" You already know. Sometimes the soul confesses long before the mouth ever does. And when her eyes can't meet yours anymore, you already have your answer. 2, her energy feels different. Energy doesn't lie. It's the one language that always tells the truth, even when words don't. You might not be able to explain it logically, but you can feel it. The same way you can sense warmth when someone truly loves you, you can sense distance when that warmth has been given to someone else.
When a woman has been with another man, her presence changes in subtle yet powerful ways. She might still laugh, still talk, still show up, but her frequency feels off. The air between you doesn't buzz the same way. It feels distracted, muted, like she's there, but not really there. In female psychology, this is called emotional transference, the subconscious redirection of affection and focus. Intimacy isn't just physical, it's energetic. When she shares that bond with someone new, part of her softness, her emotional rhythm, begins to beat to a different tune. You'll sense it in her voice, her posture, even her pauses. Her laughter sounds slightly forced. Her attention seems split. She doesn't mirror your movements anymore. Her energy no longer dances with yours the way it once did. And no matter how much she acts the same, you'll feel that quiet emptiness, a few degrees colder than before.
Don't argue with that feeling. Don't gaslight your own intuition. You're not imagining it. You're feeling the shift. Because energy can be mimicked for a moment, but not forever. When her energy changes, love feels different. And that's something no act can hide. You'll know this one the moment it happens, even if you can't explain why. Her hugs used to melt into you, natural, warm, effortless. Her kisses felt alive, full of meaning, even in their smallest moments. But now, something feels rehearsed. She still does the things she used to. Hugs, touches, little gestures, but they've lost their soul. They feel like motions without emotion, like she's playing a role in a movie she doesn't believe in anymore. Her affection has become a routine, mechanical, predictable, almost robotic. You sit beside her, and she reaches for your hand, but her touch doesn't land the same way. It's like she's checking off a box her heart has already abandoned. She still says, "I love you," but it sounds like muscle memory. The sparkle that used to hide in her tone is gone. In psychology, this is called emotional dissonance, when what someone does no longer matches what they feel. Her body remembers what love is supposed to look like, but her emotions have disconnected from it. She's performing affection instead of feeling it. You'll notice it in the details. She kisses you, but her eyes stay open. She hugs you, but her body stays tense. She holds your hand, but her thumb doesn't move the way it used to. No gentle rubs, no rhythm, just stillness. It's not cruelty, it's confusion. Her mind is trying to hold on to what's safe, but her emotions have already drifted. She's pretending that nothing has changed, but deep down, she knows everything has. And that's the truth of it. When affection turns mechanical, the connection has already cracked. The hands that once reached for you out of love now hesitate because they've reached for someone else. And love, once shared, doesn't return untouched. So don't beg for the warmth that's gone. Don't chase the version of her that used to love you effortlessly. Sometimes, the absence of emotion in her touch says more than 1,000 words ever could. 4. She gets irritated by small things. When guilt grows heavy, it rarely shows as sadness. Sometimes it hides behind sharp words, cold shoulders, and short tempers. You'll start noticing it in small ways. She snaps at things that never used to bother her. She gets annoyed by your habits, the same ones she once found cute. Her patience runs thin, her tone becomes defensive, and her silence becomes longer. It's not that you've changed, it's that your presence reminds her of what she's done. You become a mirror she doesn't want to look into. And guilt, when it can't stay quiet, tries to escape, often disguised as irritation. Psychologists call this projection. When a person can't face their own guilt, they redirect it outward. So instead of saying, "I feel bad about what I did," her mind turns it into, "You're annoying," or "You're different." The truth is, she's not angry at you. She's angry at herself. She's emotionally restless, and that restlessness needs a target. You just happen to be there. Her irritation becomes her escape, her way of creating distance. So when she starts arguing over small things or picking fights that make no sense, don't try to fix it. Don't plead. Don't over-explain. Let the silence speak, because often behind anger is guilt, and behind guilt is truth. Her irritation isn't hate, it's her conscience trying to breathe. 5. Her routine subtly changes. Change always leaves footprints, even when people try to hide them. When a woman begins seeing someone else, her rhythm, her timing, her little habits start shifting. Not enough to alarm you at first, but just enough to unsettle your intuition. Her phone becomes more private. She tilts the screen away. She starts smiling at texts she doesn't share with you. Her responses to you become shorter, slower, less curious. She says she's busy, but the pattern feels off. She's tired at odd hours. She disappears for short stretches that never used to exist. It's never blatant. It's quiet, gradual, almost graceful. But if you're paying attention, you'll feel the change in the rhythm of her life. Psychologists call this cognitive realignment, when the mind unconsciously starts reorganizing life to protect a new attachment. She begins creating emotional space from the old to make room for the new. And when that happens, her world starts rearranging itself in tiny, unspoken ways. The calls get shorter, the check-ins fade, the good mornings stop coming first. But here's the twist. She might start overcompensating. She'll suddenly act extra sweet, extra caring, overly talkative, like she's trying to erase your doubt before it's born. She'll say things like, "I've just been tired lately," or "Work's been insane," with a tone that sounds rehearsed. But you'll feel the truth beneath the excuses, because love has a rhythm. And when that rhythm breaks, you can hear it in the silence between texts, in the time she takes to reply, in the distance you can't name but can't ignore. A woman's routine rarely lies. When her time, attention, and focus start shifting away from you, it's because her emotions already have. She's somewhere else, emotionally entangled in a new story, trying to balance two worlds, two truths, inside one heart. She stops asking about your day. It sounds small, almost unimportant, but it's one of the clearest signs that something has shifted. When a woman truly cares about you, her curiosity becomes part of her love language. She wants to know how you're feeling, how your day went, what's been weighing on your mind. That gentle curiosity is how she stays emotionally connected, and it's her way of saying, "You matter to me." But when that emotional thread breaks, her questions fade. She stops checking in, stops following up, stops remembering the small details you share. You'll find yourself talking, but she's somewhere else, nodding along, glancing at her phone, pretending to listen. It's not always because she's being cold. Sometimes it's confusion, sometimes it's guilt, but more often than not, it's emotional displacement, a psychological shift where her focus moves from one emotional bond to another. She's no longer invested in your inner world because her heart is exploring someone else's. She's comparing, even unconsciously, the tone, the attention, the feeling. Her emotional energy is divided, and in that division, her warmth fades. You'll notice she forgets the things she used to remember. She doesn't ask how that meeting went, or whether you slept well, or how you've been feeling lately. It's not just forgetfulness, it's absence. Her care has been redirected. And that's one of the hardest things to face, when someone who used to be your safe place no longer wants to know what's happening in your world. Her silence in those moments says more than any confession ever could. Love requires presence. When she stops being emotionally present and when her curiosity dies, it's not a phase, it's a signal. It's her quiet way of saying, I'm here in body, but not in heart. So don't chase her attention. Watch where it naturally flows. Because where her attention goes, her affection follows. And when she no longer cares to know about you, it's because she's learning someone new. 7. Her touch feels off. Touch doesn't lie. It's one of the purest languages of love. And when that language changes, the soul feels it instantly. Before, her hugs lingered. Her touch had rhythm, soft, spontaneous, safe. It carried warmth, familiarity, and connection. But now, it feels off, hesitant, different. Either she avoids touching you completely, or she overdoes it, trying too hard to prove nothing's changed. Both are signs that something's wrong. When a woman has been physically intimate with someone else, her body remembers that new rhythm. It's not something she controls. It's a subconscious shift. Her nervous system, her body language, her breathing, they all carry traces of that connection. In emotional psychology, this is called somatic memory, the body's way of storing emotional experiences. The body recognizes comfort, and it also recognizes change. So when you hold her now, she doesn't relax the same way. Her muscles stay tense, her breathing changes. Her kiss feels slightly forced, as if she's trying to recreate something that no longer feels natural. You'll notice small things. Her hug feels shorter. Her hands don't rest on you with ease anymore. When you lean in, she pulls back, subtly but consistently. The synchronization that once felt effortless now feels broken, and you can sense it. That invisible barrier, that emotional wall between your touch and her response. It's not something you can explain, but it's something you feel. It's not about judging her, it's about recognizing truth. When intimacy shifts, energy shifts with it. What was once mutual now feels one-sided. What was once spiritual now feels mechanical. When her touch feels foreign, it's because her energy is no longer aligned with yours. And once that bond fractures, no amount of pretending can rebuild what her body has already confessed. You can't fake chemistry. You can't hide disconnection. The truth always lingers in the space between two people's hands. 8. Her silence becomes heavy. This is the hardest one, and the one that hurts the most, because silence, once peaceful, becomes painful. Before, you could sit together in quiet comfort. Her silence used to feel like calm, like safety. Now it feels like distance. It's not peace anymore. It's pressure. When a woman hides something, her silence changes texture. She talks less, but not out of serenity, out of fear. She's guarding her words, afraid that one wrong sentence might expose what she's trying to bury. So she says less, avoiding depth, avoiding vulnerability. You'll notice it in her pauses, longer, heavier. You'll feel it in her tone, softer, cautious. And when conversations start getting real, she'll pull away or change the subject. Her silence becomes her shield. In psychology, this is known as cognitive load. When someone's mind is juggling conflicting emotions and can't express naturally. The effort to keep secrets takes mental space, and that tension shows in their communication. Her silence is that tension turned into soundless weight. And that's the truth. Silence that heavy always means something. It's her final defense before truth spills out. It's the body's way of saying, I'm not at peace, but I can't talk. You'll feel it, sitting next to her, hearing nothing but sensing everything. Her silence will fill the room like fog, and your soul will know. Don't force her to speak. Don't chase confessions. Sometimes silence is already the confession. When a woman goes quiet after betrayal, she's not fine. She's hiding from confrontation, from guilt, from herself. Listen to that silence, because sometimes what she doesn't say screams the loudest. If you've felt even half of these signs, trust your intuition. You're not paranoid, you're perceptive. A woman's change in energy, tone, affection, and silence isn't imagination. It's emotional evidence. You don't need to argue. You don't need to demand the truth. The truth is already showing up. In her distance, in her detachment, in her silence. Sometimes love doesn't end in a fight. It ends quietly. In the pauses between two people who once understood each other without words. And when that happens, walk away with grace. You don't need her confession. You already feel it. Because sometimes the soul knows long before the mind is ready to accept it. After all the signs, the silence, the confusion, comes the truth that most people don't want to face. Sometimes love doesn't end in fire. It ends in quiet. Not with a bang, not with screaming or betrayal laid bare, but with that invisible moment when something inside you finally realizes, she's already gone. That's the hardest part to accept. The fact that her body might still be there, but her soul has already drifted somewhere else. You can sit across from her, hear her laugh, watch her talk, and yet you can feel it deep in your chest that the connection has broken. It's a strange kind of heartbreak, the kind that doesn't make noise. It's waking up next to someone who feels like a memory. It's trying to hold a hand that doesn't hold you back the same way anymore, and your mind will argue with your gut. It'll say, maybe I'm imagining things. Maybe she's just tired. Maybe it's just a phase, but your heart knows. It always knows. Because love has an energy, and when that energy shifts, you can't unfeel it. You can ignore it for a while, drown it out with distractions, even convince yourself to stay a little longer. But deep down, you've already seen the truth in her eyes, heard it in her silence, and felt it in the way she pulls away when you reach out. And here's what you need to remember. You don't need to beg for honesty from someone who's already emotionally gone. You don't need to become the detective of your own heartbreak. Real closure doesn't always come from someone admitting the truth. Sometimes closure comes from you finally accepting what your intuition has been trying to tell you all along. That's emotional maturity. That's self-respect. Because love isn't about holding someone hostage to what they once were. It's about recognizing when the connection has died and having the courage to walk away without hatred. You see, when you force the truth, it loses its meaning. But when you accept it quietly, when you stand up and say, I know, even if she'll never say it out loud, that's power, that's peace. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is let go without bitterness. Not because you're weak, but because you finally understand that love built on lies isn't love at all. It's just comfort wearing a mask. So walk away with grace. Don't demand the truth. Don't chase explanations. If her energy, her affection, and her silence have already changed, then your heart already holds the answer. The greatest wisdom is in acceptance, because one day you'll look back and realize that your intuition was never your enemy. It was your protector. And the moment you finally listen to it, truly listen, that's when healing begins. Because love, the kind that's real, doesn't make you question yourself. It doesn't make you feel unseen, unwanted, or unworthy. Real love brings peace. And when that peace disappears, when everything inside you feels off, it's your soul's way of telling you, it's time to let go. So take a breath. Look at where you are now. The silence you once feared will become your teacher. The emptiness will make space for clarity. And slowly, you'll start feeling like yourself again. Lighter, freer, stronger. Because sometimes walking away isn't losing someone else. It's finally finding yourself. Because this isn't just about her, it's about you. It's about that quiet strength that lives inside every person who's ever had to let go of someone they still love. The truth is, we all face moments when love changes form, when connection fades, when trust trembles, when silence speaks louder than words. But what defines you isn't what they did. It's how you rise from it. You see, heartbreak has a strange way of breaking you open, not to destroy you, but to reveal parts of yourself you forgot existed. The patience, the empathy, the resilience, the ability to love again even after being hurt. Maybe right now, you're replaying conversations in your head, looking for clues, asking yourself what you missed. Maybe you're staring at your phone, wondering when she changed, when things started feeling different. But here's the truth. Sometimes there's no single moment, no clear before or after love doesn't vanish all at once. It fades, slowly, quietly, until you finally realize the silence has been telling you the truth all along. And in that moment, you face a choice. You can chase answers that will never bring you peace, or you can choose yourself. You can cling to the illusion, or you can stand up, breathe deeply, and walk away with dignity. Because real strength isn't in holding on. It's in knowing when to stop trying to fix something that's already gone. And when you do, when you let go without bitterness, without anger, you reclaim your peace. You make space for healing, for growth, for the version of you that knows better and deserves better. This pain you're feeling right now, it's temporary. It's not a punishment. It's transformation. It's your soul shedding what no longer serves you. The same intuition that warned you of the truth will one day lead you towards something real, something peaceful, something that doesn't require you to doubt your worth. So, when you walk away, do it with calmness, with grace. You don't need revenge. You don't need to prove anything. Just let your silence be your closure, because the kind of love that hurts you isn't worth fighting for. And the kind of love meant for you will never make you question your peace. And one day when you look back, you'll realize this wasn't the end. It was a beginning, the start of the version of you who finally knows what real love feels like. Warm, safe, honest, present. Because that's what love is supposed to be. Not confusion, not fear, not silence that suffocates. Real love feels like home. And sometimes to find that home again, you have to walk through heartbreak with your head held high. So, if this message resonated with you, if you've ever felt that shift, that silence, that ache you can't explain, remember, you're not crazy, you're not broken, you're human. You felt something real, you saw the truth, and you had the courage to face it. Let that be your strength. And if you're still healing, keep this in mind. Healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means accepting what happened and choosing peace anyway, because peace is the most powerful closure you'll ever have. Voice fades softer, with reflective tone. Sometimes silence tells you everything, not because it hides the truth, but because it is the truth. If this message spoke to you, if it made you pause and think, don't forget to hit that like button. Share this video with someone who might need to hear it tonight. And if you want more deep reflective truths like this, subscribe to the Stoic Wisdom and join a community that believes in emotional clarity, self-awareness, and strength through understanding. Because at the end of the day, wisdom isn't found in knowing others, it's found in understanding yourself.